Hey, welcome to another edition of our sponsor spotlight. I'm here with Mark Parrott of Outpost Advisors, and Mark's been a sponsor of ICS. This is your second year, I think. Is that right? And so wanted to get to know him. He's got a pretty cool story. We were just talking a little bit before as we were waiting. Grew up in Texas, went to a Christian school there, went to Princeton, met your wife Amelia there.
That's right.
And then fill us in on the next 15 seconds of the next 15 years or whatever that is.
Yeah, so I did what a lot of Princetonians do and went and worked in an investment bank for a few years and had a variety of finance jobs. My wife is a physician, so that moved us to Utah to do her residency. And through some interesting kind of path, I ended up working at backcountry.com, the ski retailer. Ended up in sort of a leadership role there, and then
that was not your intent when you got there.
No, my intent was to ski and answer the phones and then find a real job after a couple months.
But it found you.
But it worked out. We acquired some businesses for them, and then I ended up at a couple tech startups in Salt Lake City. So that was kind of the path, and while I was doing that, the Lord took me in a direction I wasn't expecting.
All right. So you have 3 kiddos, is that right? 2.
That's right.
3.
We have 3 girls.
Yes.
Kyla, Esther, and Sloan.
Okay. And they're in what grades here?
5th, 1st, and almost.
And almost. All right. That sounds good. So Mark's on our school board as well. I started that role last summer, I believe it was.
Right.
And but in getting to know you and learning about the Outpost Advisors thing, you told me about kind of the beginnings of that, where you started a blog, if I remember correctly, called Abraham's Wallet. If I don't want to tell your whole story, but
right.
Yeah, so go on. Like, how did that start?
Yeah, so since working in finance and managing money for big companies, I've always been interested in personal finance as well. And I'm also I grew up in kind of big Baptist land, Texas, where they talked about money, but mostly just the giving part. And I'm a big fan of giving, but that's all I really heard about at church.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so a guy who had discipled me for a long time and I decided to start writing a blog for our 10 friends about what else does the Bible have to say when it comes to being a good steward.
Right.
And we did that. The short story is that it grew from our 10 friends to several tens of thousands of people that were stopping by and reading what we had to say. I had a light bulb moment when some young man sat down and wanted to have a coffee with me, and I realized he had flown to Utah to have that conversation. Wow. So we kind of looked at each other and said, well, we could probably invest full time in helping families structure their finances in a way that really powers their family vision and isn't just let's end up with the biggest pile of money and die.
Right. So you started, and that was a bit of an adventure, if I remember correctly. The first time we had coffee at the coffee shop, you're telling me about like getting all the license and everything like that. But you started Outpost Advisors.
That's right.
And now are you still doing like videos and things like that, like educational type things?
So we still do a podcast once a week. That's actually grown faster than the blog.
What's the name of that podcast, and how do you find it, Mark?
It's Abraham's Wallet. You can find it anywhere where you find podcasts.
All right. Gotcha.
And so that's probably our main channel of pushing info out these days.
Yeah.
We still write blogs when we have time, but thank the Lord, the business has grown quite rapidly, and we're serving about 70 families now.
Wow.
And we do everything from kind of why did God put this unique combination of people and gifts and talents together? What are the assignments that He has for that family? And how do we structure finances and time and careers in a way that really allows that family to accomplish everything that the Lord has laid out for them?
Yeah. So just as you talk, it's kind of like a lot more of a more holistic approach and one that's based on faith in a way that is similar, as I think about it, to what we do here at ICS in faith-based education as well, which is a interesting thought, and it should impact everything we do. And there's not a separation there, you know. So that's really cool. One thing I wanted to ask you about is just some uniquenesses.
Right.
Whatever. About your business and the way you structure that. So, for instance, about whether or not you sell products or things like that. You've told me about that, and I thought that was interesting.
That's right. When I was thinking about this as a possibility,
Yeah.
I thought there's no way we can be financial planners because personally, I don't think you should take advice from somebody who stands to benefit more by recommending option A than option B.
Right.
So commission-based products.
Right.
There's a lot of good people that sell those types of things, but it wasn't the way I wanted to do this. So for us, it was really important to be fee only, which means we charge fees for the services we provide, and to also be fiduciaries. So our clients, we're legally on the hook to recommend what's best for them, even if it makes us $0. And then lastly, it was really important to me to go ahead and get the CFP certification, which is kind of a very thin slice of all financial planners end up getting that credential. And that's a story for another day. It was also a fun time getting that in the month of March 2020.
Right. Yeah, a year ago or 11 months ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think being really credentialed, able to provide really the highest level of service. We have families with net worths from negative $300,000 because they're in medical school, all the way up to very high net worth families that we work with, and have been able in the past couple of years to assemble a team around us that really helps us provide excellent service in a way that I think is good for the client compared to some of the other business models out there.
And I'll also say thank you on behalf of ICS for extra work, a lot of work that you've been doing working with our financial literacy class, really revolutionizing that in a way, working with our juniors who take that. And that's been an awesome thing. We appreciate that too. So how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in what you're doing?
Yeah, the best way to see everything we do as a business is to go to outpostadvisors.net, and we've kind of got the full rundown there. If you just want to understand what we're all about, Abraham's Wallet is a good place to get to know me and my business partner, Steven, and some of the other people that we work with. So those are the two places I would point folks.
Cool. Well, thank you, and I appreciate it, and thanks for watching another edition of the Sponsor Spotlight.
Thanks, Mitch.